It's off target, but Chamberlain there to clean it up. And he dunks it right back home. What a play. The Big Dipper with a big-time finish. Hello and welcome to the NBA on 2K Sports as we go back in the archive to Los Angeles, California in the early 70s. A game and a contest of East versus West. The two best teams in the league at the time. The Los Angeles Lakers led by the legendary Wilt Chamberlain. The New York Knicks with an array of talent, most notably the smooth playmaker, Walt Clyde Frazier.
And Kevin, you look at these two teams, an exciting rivalry. They faced off 3 times in the finals over the course of 4 seasons.
That's right, the Lakers coming out on top in 1972 and the Knicks victorious in 70 and 1973.
And guys, when you see a team that consistently is in the finals, you can develop a distinct distaste for one another. So it should be a great game to watch. I mean, 2 supremely talented teams, both highly motivated to come away with...
What is going on with you, YouTube? This is Regular Dave coming at you with another video. And this is NBA 2K12, NBA's greatest mode. This is the Wilt Chamberlain Challenge. The Big Dipper, Wilt Chamberlain, as Shaq called him. This is his challenge, so I unlock him and the Knicks. I eke out a victory in Regular Dave fashion. Real close game. And this is, as you guys know, my favorite series to play, the greatest mode. It's my favorite thing to make videos on. I think it shows, because I think these end up being my best videos and definitely the most well received. I think you guys like these videos the most. But the reason why I think the videos come out so well is because all the challenges I've played, I remember these games, remember these players, and I give you little tidbits, and I know what's going on, but we're getting to an era that I wasn't alive for. So I can't do what I normally do in the NBA's greatest mode. So since I can't do that, I thought that I would give you my opinion on a subject that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I haven't really had a video to talk about it, and this is the perfect opportunity. A conversation that really I hear too much of that I don't like whatsoever, and that is who's the NBA's greatest player of all time. And look, check this out. They used to tip off every quarter, not just the beginning of the game. I was like, man, my game started over. This is some BS. But then I was like, okay, this is some old school junk that I don't know anything about. But okay, so the talk, who's the greatest player of all time? I know what the popular answer is. And if you know anything about Regular Dave, you know I normally stray a little from the norm. So I'm not going to give you the popular answer. I'm going to say that there is no answer. This is an argument that cannot be made, the greatest player of all time. There's too many different things going on in the NBA to really judge who is the best player of all time. It's really an impossible thing, and I know people like to go with what they know, what they got to watch, but, you know, contrary to popular belief, the NBA didn't start when you was born. It didn't start in the 80s, and it didn't start in the 90s. There were great players before that you got to pay attention to. Now, let's have the talk. Let's have the talk of why you can't really say who's the greatest player of all time. Look at somebody like Wilt Chamberlain. Look at those numbers. Those weren't great first half numbers. Let's up those numbers in the second half. But look at somebody like Wilt Chamberlain who has crazy statistics. Just look at his statistics, and you blink and be like, what? No, this can't be right. I mean, he had a season where he averaged 50 points. He had a season where he averaged like 44 points. He had a 55 rebound game. We all know his infamous 100-point game. Just numbers that are just through the roof. He averaged like 22 rebounds for his career. Just crazy numbers, right? So on top of all of this, they tried to make the game harder for him. They didn't try to make it easier like they did in the 90s. They tried to make the game harder. They widened the paint. I think when he was in college, they outlawed dunking, all kinds of stuff because he was so dominant. And they was like, this is not even fair. Now you look at the 90s, they made the game easier for the players. And that was his one weakness, is free throws. You should get an Xbox achievement point if you make a free throw with him. But, okay. The 90s, they made the game easier for Mike and anybody who played in the 90s, man. They got rid of hand checking. And if you don't know how significant that was, go outside. I know y'all ballers. Go outside with the homie, whoever. Have him post you up and guard him with your hand in his back. And you can pretty much steer and control everywhere he goes. Now, then let him post you up and guard him with your forearm. It's a lot more difficult. It's a lot easier to spin off you, all that crazy stuff. So they made the game easier. Now, here is my biggest argument. Okay, this is my biggest argument why you can't really say who the greatest player of all time is. Okay, I'm not saying Michael Jordan's not the greatest player of all time. I guess you can say that if you want. You wouldn't really be wrong, but you wouldn't really be right. Look, how about this? What if you were a GM and you had a line, like a suspect line, just lined up against the wall, right? You had Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Oscar Robertson, all the greats of all time, right? And you got to pick one player for your franchise, knowing even what you know now about how good they were and everything. Is Michael Jordan a 6'6" guard the obvious choice? I think you'd be crazy to say that he's the obvious choice. You wouldn't be wrong for picking him, but why wouldn't you pick a 6'9" point guard who could play all 5 positions and has an insane knack for winning? I mean, would you be crazy if you were picking a team and you decided to take a guy who runs your team, Magic Johnson, over Michael Jordan? Absolutely not. You wouldn't be wrong. Would you be wrong if you took the 7'1" center who averaged 50 points in a game, grabbed 55 rebounds in a game, had a 100-point game, averaged an insane amount of points per game? Would you be wrong for that? Absolutely not. So how could you possibly say that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time? I know this is not popular. I can see the thumbs down now on the video. I know how y'all operate because y'all don't like what I'm saying because it's the truth. But I think this comes from a time that, like, when the media really, really got involved in sports with the 24-hour coverage, Michael Jordan was playing, and it's a snowball effect. He's a great player. I mean, all his accolades, I don't need to say them. Basically, there was a period of time where he was unstoppable. His will to win was greater than anybody else's will to win, and that's why I don't feel like you could even compare today's current players to Mike. I don't think they're in his league, but that's a whole nother topic. My argument is a little too long to fit in this 9-minute video. I'm going to have to talk about this another time, but that scenario I gave with you picking a player to start your team, you wouldn't necessarily pick Michael Jordan. Normally, you'd start with a point like how could you not start with a 6'9" point guard or a 7'1" center who just dominates beyond belief to where they want to change the rules? Now, if you want to pick the 6'6" guard who can light it up, score, and will himself to win, you're not wrong. But I'm just saying, if you decide not to do that, you're not wrong either. I know this has been a lot to digest, but that was the end of the game. I pulled it out with the Lakers, Jerry West, the logo. I mean, look at Jerry West. He's the logo of the NBA. That is his likeness. That NBA logo is him. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to pick this back up. I'll get to you guys another time. Peace.
Dropped out, no diploma. If you feeling heat in the kitchen or just washing dishes.